Hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I am here with my friend Ryan, and we are going to guide you through the Quiz Bowl training for volunteering at the state tournament.
All right, so the first thing, welcome to this meeting and video if you're watching. So the things we're going to go over are the jobs of the volunteers, the general responsibilities, as well as gameplay, and then what to do at the end of each match, as well as some things about the tournament and the rules and integrity. So the tournament is for the Michigan High School. It's the state tournament, so it's the best teams in the state of Michigan. It's over 2 days, and it's double elimination. Teams will play the first day until they lose, and then the second day will be the rest of the eliminations. And then this is also an opportunity for players to visit and learn about Michigan State. It's a nice way for them to become acquainted with the campus as well as the people that are here. So when you first get to the Union, the first thing is check in on the first floor. There you will get your name tag as well as a voucher for lunch at the Union Cafe, as well as a voucher for ice cream at the dairy store. And if you're a moderator or judge, you will receive the folder with the question packets for the games you are assigned, as well as score sheets for the scorekeeper. So the different jobs of the volunteers can range from 3 different roles. There's the moderator, who is the reader of the questions and moderates the match. The scorekeeper, who records the score and keeps track of the game time, as well as the judge, who checks the score and as the counsel for issues with questions or other problems during the game. So the primary role of the moderator is to read the questions and operate the buzzer system, as well as confirming whether the answer is correct or incorrect. So for moderators, one of the first things you do is you are essentially the host of the match. You can introduce yourself to the teams, make sure that each team clarifies who the captains are, and as well as substitutions if the captain is traded out. Please announce if a question is a toss-up or a bonus question at the beginning of each section, so that way teams know how many questions or what type of question it is, as well as the number of the question, which helps teams keep track of where they are in the match. Speak with a clear pronunciation and slow enough that teams can understand you, but not too slow as to hamper the length of the match. And clearly follow the words of the question. There will be pronunciation guides for the more difficult words in the packet themselves. They'll be right next to the words they refer to. And then when teams buzz in, teams do not need to be properly acknowledged before they give their response. And then verbally acknowledge if a team receives power on one question. There will be bolded sections in each toss-up question that refer to regions of power, where if a team answers while you are reading that portion, they will receive 15 points instead of 10 points. And then certain answers at the end will be able to be prompted. There will be only 1 prompt per team, so if the team does not get the correct or acceptable form of the answer after 1 prompt, the question then either falls dead or the other team can then buzz in. And then also please remember to reset the buzzers before the next toss-up round. The scorekeeper keeps track of the score as well as the time for the entirety of the match. So the scorekeeper should start and stop the time at the beginning and end of the halves, at timeouts, and at halftime, as well as making sure to accurately fill out the provided score sheets, which are very important for, one, the overall score of the game and the tournament, but for awarding points for an all-state team. Updating the analog score device, usually different panels with different numbers on them that will allow teams to visually see the score. And then announcing the end of score as well as the winner of the match. And then in addition to that, making sure that the score sheets are delivered to the table on the main floor, which will allow the tournament officials to update the brackets as well as the teams. The judge is the council and overall final say for score and moderation. They keep a secondary track of the score to compare with the scorekeeper should there be an issue. And they also follow along with a question booklet. They provide clarification if answers can be accepted with power prompted, as well as correcting the moderator if a word is severely mispronounced. But we do ask that you do this with caution. Minor slip-ups are not necessarily deserving of a correction. However, if something is severely mispronounced, that is a problem for the match. And also, the judge will take note of any protests or game issues and then report these if necessary to the tournament officials. And then, as well, all three roles, they're there to, they should acknowledge both teams, have buzzer checks before every competition, then remind teams about nomination forms for the finals to vote for the judges, moderators, and the scorekeepers who are going to be proctoring the final matches. Remain professional in the matches and in between, and keep quiet in the hallways, as well as making sure that if there's any individuals in the hallways who are being too loud or disruptive, that you can again go into the hallways and make sure that they are, and politely ask them to refrain from any loud or obnoxious behavior. And then also do not discuss any specific questions outside of the room. And then engage participants, be friendly, be social. We want everyone to have a good time and have a positive environment.
So now we are going to go over some of the general rules of the gameplay of the tournament. So to start each match, the player setup, each match will be played between two opposing teams. Up to 4 players may be active at once, and only the active players are allowed to answer toss-ups and confer on bonuses. If there are any substitutes not sitting with those 4, then they are not allowed to answer toss-ups or confer on bonuses. 1 player shall also be designated the captain, and they should normally sit in the second chair from the inside of the aisle. In terms of timing, if both teams are ready, then you can start a match ahead of schedule. So for example, if all players and coaches are in the room at 9:25 and it's a 9:30 match, if they're both willing to start, then you can start the match 5 minutes early. All matches consist of 2 halves. They shall last, the match will last a maximum of 30 minutes. A half ends after either 10 toss-ups are read or when 15 minutes pass, whichever comes first. Then after the first half, there will be a 3-minute halftime. A match ends after 20 questions are read or after the 30-minute time limit has been reached, whichever comes first. Both teams are allowed 1-minute timeout per half. And if a half ends while a toss-up or bonus is being read, then the half ends by reading and completing the current toss-up bonus cycle. So if you are in the middle of a toss-up, when the timer goes off, then you finish reading the toss-up, and if a team ends up getting the toss-up correct, then you read the bonuses for that toss-up, then the half ends. If the toss-up goes unanswered, then the half ends. Scoring in terms of toss-ups, players may signal at any time during a toss-up, but only the player who rings in first may answer. A correct answer is worth anywhere between 10 to 15 points and control of 3 bonuses for the player's team. So if a question is answered during the power section, like Ryan was stating on the question sheet, the power section will be indicated by bold type. The team earns 15 points. After power, the question is only worth 10 points. If a player buzzes in during the question and answers incorrectly or an illegal conferral occurs, so the wrong teammate answering or discussing with a teammate before answering, the team will be docked 5 points, and this is only on the first team to buzz in early and incorrectly. If a player buzzes in after the question and answers incorrectly, then no points are deducted. And then each team is only allowed 1 answer per toss-up. An incorrect answer blocks the team out from further answering the question. So upon answering a toss-up, a team then gets control of the bonus. So each bonus question has 3 questions within it, and teammates are allowed to confer, but an answer should be given by the team captain, but take whichever answer is directed to you first. If the captain prefers that they give all the answers, they can defer the answer to another teammate to answer said question. Correct answers for bonuses are worth 10 points, and incorrect answers are worth no points. Other general gameplay rules, just a little bit of timing when it comes to reading. After signaling on a toss-up, players have 3 seconds to start their answer. After a toss-up is finished being read, players have 5 seconds to signal. And then teams will have 5 seconds to answer a bonus, and a warning should be given when 1 second remains. So just asking like, team, I need your answer when 1 second remains. Substitutions are allowed, and they must be made during timeouts and halftime. And both teams are allowed to sub regardless of which team calls a timeout. Coaches and captains are allowed to log protests after the question in dispute is finished. And if the total points at stake would be enough to change the winner of a match, the judge will communicate all info related to the protest to tournament director. If it's to a point where the number of points being protested would not affect the match, then the protests go unresolved. Just a little note of what is protestable. Anything on this list is protestable and nothing else. The acceptance of an answer, the non-acceptance of an answer, the non-prompting of an answer, an error in time, so say starting a match late per se, so like the timer starts after the 5 seconds after the reader starts reading, or an error in score. At the end of the game, make sure to remember to thank both teams for the match. Make sure that the final score is sent down to the information table to update the brackets. And if there is any player in particular that stands out to you, try to make note of their name, the school, and their division. These will be used as nominations for the All-State Quiz Bowl team.
So a few closing thoughts about the tournament itself. We'd like to have a positive Quiz Bowl playing environment so that we ensure that the students enjoy their time here and have a positive experience at the tournament itself. But in doing that, we also want to make sure that we adhere to the rules so that we remain fair and unbiased to the teams, as well as the tournament is a reflection of Michigan State University, as well as the faculty, staff, students, and the culture here. So we just like to make sure that everyone knows that this tournament is a reflection of us as an institution, and we'd like to maintain a positive outlook for that.
If you have any other questions regarding rules, anything dealing with the tournament, then please feel free to email Jackie Heyman at heymanj@msu.edu.
All right. Thank you for watching. See you at the tournament.